definitely been led down a certain route. And then when, of course, the sender is a Mr. Snow, I thought, well, it's made to be, isn't it? It's absolutely meant to be. So, all I can say is thank goodness it wasn't from a Mr. Beach and called the No Group, because that would have been very easy to answer. But I think a great example of if you don't ask, you don't get. And sometimes it's just about saying yes, isn't it? Yeah. Give me a yes! Yeah! Awesome, fantastic. I feel as though I'm in a stadium. Good evening, Wembley. Thank you. This is so good. My energy is through the roof. It's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to take you on a really quick tour of what it's like to climb a very big mountain, and perhaps off the back of it, you probably will go, well, I'm not doing that, but at least you may understand why I might want to do that. But also these mountains that we all face every single day throughout our lives, what are some of the transferable skills, mindsets, thoughts, experiences that we can take to this? It was amazing seeing Steve's is zigzaggy line. It had an official term, doesn't it? Some spiral thing, which was so cool, because I thought that is like so many of my journeys. There is often a massive low point. The difference is that low point tends to stay for quite a long time, and then hopefully you get up to the top and it all becomes worthwhile. Of course, a smooth sea never made a skilled mariner. Sometimes you've got to get down in the ring and get a bit dirty and a bit muddy and a bit bloody to really appreciate what it's all about. So as a little bit of an introduction, I started climbing when I was just 12 years old. The reason why I started climbing was I was absolutely awful at rugby, football and cricket. I'm completely mal-coordinated when it comes to catching, kicking or throwing a ball. Please don't anyone throw anything at me, because it would just go splat on my face. But when I was at school, and I don't know if any of you had the same sort of sense, that the cool kids tended to be the ones who were good at sports. Yeah, I was definitely at a school where that was it. The Latin scholar was not the cool kid. And whilst I wasn't on that end of the spectrum, I was a very average boy. I was a very average child. I was okay academically. I tended to be captain of whatever sports team I was in, so obviously some sort of leadership qualities, but it was normally the fourths or the fifths. It was the sick, lame and lazy of the school. The school version of Kelly's Heroes, just without any heroes. Does that make me Kelly? I don't know. But what I recognised is that if I wanted to be cool, I had to be good at a sport, but if I couldn't do any of the mainstream sports, perhaps if I could find a sport that nobody else did, then by default I could be the best, and the coolness would follow. So, Steve's talking about identity set was be cool. Now, amazingly, it's taken me to all sorts of heights, literally and figuratively. I don't think the coolness has come. But that doesn't really matter, because sometimes it's about the journey and you discover all sorts of other important and exciting things whilst you're on that journey. When I was 14, I read a magazine article about a young British climber called Sandeep Dillon. He was 28 years old and he'd just become the youngest person in the world to complete the 7 summits. And I was thinking to myself, I'm 14, he's 28, 14, 28, 14, 28, 28. Old man. 28 is ancient, isn't it? Completely past. If he can do that, why can't I? The fact that I'd never climbed a mountain before, the fact that I'd never climbed outside of England before didn't deter me, and I quite literally set my sights as high as possible. I was lucky enough to go off to the first of them, Kilimanjaro. I know that we have at least one person in here who's going to be heading off to Kilimanjaro. Let's give him a big round of applause, my friend at the back. I wish you all the luck, and remember, pole, which for the Swahili speakers in the room will know means slowly. Take it easy. There is no race to the top. But I went off to Kilimanjaro, my first of 7 summits, and I was lucky enough to reach the summit of Kili to watch the sunrise on the 1st of January 2000. And as I'm sure you can imagine, that was an incredible start to both my 7 summits aspirations, but also the most awesome New Year's resolution. From this point, it's onwards and upwards. Never look back, and between you and me, never look down either. After Kilimanjaro, it was off to Aconcagua in South America. I didn't get to the top. I failed. And I remember being very dejected, thinking, wow, this is what I wanted to achieve. This is where I was going. I get identity. And yet I couldn't achieve it. And therefore, I was broken. I was not a climber. I couldn't do it. I should stop climbing. And I remember my climbing instructor, who was there on the trip with me, he said, Jake, you have come back. That is success. Yeah. You have come back. That is success. You've had the most incredible experience. You've learned so much about yourself, about the mountains, the experience. You've got amazing memories which will last forever. You've got some cool photos. That is what it's all about. And it reframed it in my mind. Sometimes we don't get what we want. Wishing it so does not make it happen. And you just got to accept that. But it's about how you bounce back from those perceptions of failure. How you reframe it as, it was just a lesson. It was a lesson on my life journey of many, many lessons. You know, all the way along. After that was back to Elbrus. I'm forgetting my mountains. Elbrus in Europe, climbed that when I was 18. I then went back to Aconcagua, the thing that had beaten me. When I was 18, I became the youngest person in the world to solo that mountain, finally getting to the top. So have that self-belief, that self-efficacy, you can do it. After that, I was off to Australia, then off to Mount Denali in Alaska. Now, Denali is so close to the Arctic Circle, it's often called the coldest mountain in the world. But I think whoever had given it that title had obviously never been climbing in the Antarctic, and more specifically on Vinson Massif, where on one particular day we got down to a temperature of -70. Now, this is the point at which Tony really regrets inviting me to come up and speak on the stage, because I'm just going to embarrass myself. I'm going to embarrass everybody here. Because one of the questions I often get asked is, at -70, how on earth do you go to the toilet? Now, I feel it's my duty to inform you of these life lessons, because this is what we're really here about learning life lessons, isn't it? So if you're going to take nothing else away from today, you know, personal development, whatever. All right, we want stuff that's going to keep you alive.